Fire's crackling, the wind's tapping gently on the cabin walls. And here's Chapter 7, the Pickle Barrel Incident. If you're reading this hoping for heroics and sound decision-making, best skip ahead to Chapter 11, the bridge, the badger, and the shotgun wedding. But if you'd like to know how I survived a buffalo stampede with nothing but dumb luck, a busted banjo, and 36 gallons of pickle brine, well, now you're in for a tale. Now, this one starts long before the saloon. We was still out on the prairie, me and my old trail partner, Billy Banjo. And let me tell you, he didn't get that name from carrying the thing. Billy was a magician with strings. That banjo wasn't just an instrument, it was an extension of his soul, and occasionally his attitude. He could play a sunrise into existence, or make a room full of drunks stop brawling just to hear a final chord. I once saw a poker game end in tears just from a solo he played during a bluff. We'd been riding since sunup, dust in our teeth, wind in our ears, sore in all the wrong places, headed into Dust Bucket for cards, cold drinks, and a floor that didn't shift like river mud. About a mile out, we crested a ridge and saw something odd. Below us on the plains was a whole herd of buffalo, but they weren't grazing or stampeding. They were lined up, still as fence posts, like they were waiting on a sermon. And leading them was this wiry old man, white beard down to his belt buckle, long coat, double-barrel shotgun slung across his back like it was a fashion statement. He stood on a rock like a preacher addressing his flock. Billy stopped picking. Now that alone was enough to rattle me. He leaned forward, squinting, and then said, "Walt, that man's conducting those buffalo like a symphony." We watched. Didn't say a word. Then the old fella raised his shotgun and fired it straight into the sky. Kaboom! The echo rolled over us like a wave. The kind of sound that doesn't just bounce off the hills. It sinks into you, but the buffalo didn't flinch. They just stared. Then the man turned his back and walked back into the herd like he had a room reserved in there. Billy strummed a slow minor tune as we rode off. Said it felt like a funeral march that forgot what it was burying. I just nodded. That echo stayed with me. Dust Bucket came into view right as the sun was starting to bleed across the horizon. Town was its usual mess. 2 drunk arguments and 1 honest chicken fighting its reflection in a trough. Billy headed off to the barber shop to get his mustache tuned up. Said he'd meet me at the Dust Bucket Saloon. That place leaned more than a politician near re-election. Its piano had 7 working keys, and each one sounded like it owed someone money. I took my usual seat back to the wall, facing the door. Always faced the door. Learned that from Cookie Slim. He didn't, and now he gurgles soup for a living. The table was full that night. On my left was toothless Jenny. Chews rocks for breakfast, lies for dessert. She once talked a lone shark into owing her. Across from her was Percy Griggs, a banker turned bounty hunter turned beekeeper. Don't ask. Man still dressed like a clerk, but his hat buzzed permanent. And across from me, Big Lenny, 7 feet of mustache and vengeance. Said if I ever bluffed him again, he'd plant me face down and grow corn in my ears. I believed him. I believe him still. Billy Banjo strolled in not long after, humming like a wind chime made of moonshine. Took a seat behind me, tuned his banjo once, and started picking light. Nothing fancy, just the kind of music that makes whiskey taste smoother and regret feel optional. Now, 5 rounds into the game, I laid down a pair of 3s like I'd just beaten the devil. Lenny stood up slow, real slow, knuckles popping like dry twigs. Didn't say a thing. Just looked at me like I'd borrowed his horse and crashed it into his mama. That's when I heard it. A shotgun. Kaboom. Same sound as earlier. Same pitch. Same echo. And right then the ground shivered. Just a whisper, a murmur in the floorboards. My whiskey glass jittered in place like it had something to confess. Billy stopped playing. Said real quiet, "That echo ain't local." Jenny spat and reached for her boot. Percy whispered a hymn. And me, I felt the air go still just for a second. Then came the tremble, then the thunder. Buffalo, hundreds, maybe more. Coming fast. Like the whole prairie decided to crash the party. The saloon doors blew open like paper. Hooves, dust, horns, panic. The buffalo poured in like a sermon with no punctuation. One slipped on a spittoon and cleared the back bar like a circus trick gone wrong. The floor cracked, tables flipped, and through it all, Billy hit one last high note on his banjo, then dove clean out the side window, instrument in hand. I dove for cover, too. Nearest place, a pickle barrel. Now, if you've never taken shelter in a barrel of brine, let me tell you, it ain't noble. But it's tight, solid, and buffalo don't like vinegar. I held my breath and waited for the storm to pass. Inside, the sound dimmed. Hooves thudded by like thunder wrapped in wet blankets. I thought about that old man, that shot, that moment on the ridge, and then silence. I peeked out, slow. The saloon was wreckage. The floor gone. Walls scattered. Moonlight spilling in like it didn't mean to intrude, but the piano, still there, still standing. Same 7 sad keys, except now there was an 8th key, and sitting right on top of it, like it had always been there, was a single 8th note. Didn't float, didn't glow, just was, like a question mark no one had asked yet. Percy was singing in a washtub. Jenny was already shuffling the deck like nothing happened. Lenny riding a whiskey barrel into the distance, shouting about vengeance and vinegar. And Billy? Billy climbed back in through the broken window, banjo still tuned, and said, "That 8th note wasn't me." I believed him. Now here's what I learned that night. First, when you hear thunder with no storm, trust your spine, not your eyes. Second, buffalo move like water, fast, wide, and full of dumb confidence. Don't outrun them, outsmart them. Third, if an old man with a shotgun waves at you like it's prophecy, don't wait for the second shot. And lastly, always know where the nearest pickle barrel is. Survival ain't always poetic. Sometimes it just smells like dill. Anyway, that's chapter 7. Next time, I'll tell you how me and Billy Banjo tried to cook beans with a magnifying glass and nearly reignited a ghost town. But that's a tale for another night. Now go get some sleep. And if you ever hear thunder that echoes like a memory, move.